Hello everyone. Welcome to another Flesh and Blood video. This one's going to be a long one, so I'm going to keep this intro quick. We're going to try to get through as many of these as possible. Today is the first episode, or might be the entire thing, of the Heavy Hitters set review. If this isn't the full thing, it'll probably be in the title or whatever, and you'll know. But today, we're going to at least get through all of the heroes. I'm going to give my brief thoughts on them, and then we're just going to get straight in. We're just going to go down the card order list after we look at all the heroes. So we'll go Mandible Claw, Ballbreaker, Mini Meat Axe, through all the brute cards, and I think Guardian is second. Yeah, then Guardian second, so we'll go through all them, and then all the Warrior cards. So far, so forth, whatever. So, with all that said, let's get into the brand new, mostly, heroes. The first hero on the list is the first card in the set, KO, Armed and Dangerous, alongside normal KO. KO, Armed and Dangerous, only has one weapon zone, which means you can only have a singular one-handed weapon equipped. Attack action cards you own get +1 while they are in any zone other than the combat chain, meaning hand, pitch, discard pile, deck, anywhere. And then finally, the first time you discard a 6 or more power card during your action phase, you create a Might token. A Might token is a new type of token. It says at the start of your turn, destroy it. Your first attack gets +1 power. KO does a lot, and I really like that. He is going to be the deck I'm probably going to play the most coming into this next set. I've been working on a few lists for him. I don't think he'll be the first deck list we do, because I think Olympia is pretty dry and cut for what I like right now, so we'll probably do him first. But KO will probably be the most played deck list, because I will be playing him more than just testing. We'll be playing him at our local events, and this will be the deck with the most work from me, probably. This or Rhinar, but Rhinar will be a little later down the line, since we're going to do the 5 new heroes before we look at any older heroes and make new and updated decks for them. But KO, really cool. I like everything he does. The one-handed weapon is so flavorful, considering he only has one arm. The effect that gives your attacks the +1 during anywhere other than the combat chain, I think, is the biggest. It lets KO play cards that Brute really wants to play normally, like Enlightened Strike or Zealous Belting, but they just couldn't. Now you can pitch blues to Belting to give them go again. So you still have that like Guardian, Breakpoint type. There are so many blue 5s in the set that are absolutely insane. And E-Strike is a 6 now, letting you discard it to effects if you had it stuck in your hand, as well as you just get random other good cards like Madcap Charger is one I think that's really nice. It's a 1 for 5, pretty much it's 1 for 5 Breakneck Battery, but at red it's only 5, so with KO it actually goes to a 6, which is really nice. And then the discard effect is just some brute discard mechanic. I think he needed it, and I do like this one. This one does feel pretty nice. Rhinar, Reckless Rampage, is next. I've already voiced my opinion about how I feel about the same Rhinar we've had in this set again, but at least he's got some really cool new art. I just wish we got a Marvel version, but apparently we aren't, which is pretty sad. It sucks if I pull this Rhinar in a box, considering he is a Majestic slot in the extra part of your pack, but I mean, at least it won't take a main set Majestic if you pull one, and none of the expansion slot cards are really that enticing. There are a few that are really nice, but none of them are like insane pop, like they're not insanely amazing like some of the cards from the last set. There are some that are good, I will say that. There are some that are really good, mainly the new Prism weapon, but for me personally, I'm not going to be using them. But I do like this Reinar art. I think he's very cool. So I hope Reinar maybe gets a little better coming into heavy hitters. And from looking at the other cards, he seems like he's going to get there. Next, if we take a look at the two new Guardian heroes. Betsy, skin in the game, is a Guardian hero. She has 4 intellect, 40 health. Every hero has 4 intellect, 40 health in this set. Whenever you attack, or whenever an attack you control wagers, which I guess if an attack wagers multiple times, sure, you can trigger this multiple times, but you're not going to do it. You can pay 2 resource, and if you do, the attack gets +1 and overpower. If you'll notice, Betsy's ability costs 2 resources, which is the same cost as Pummel, which kind of turns Betsy into this really aggressive Guardian deck that can squeak through hit effects through wagers, which are near guaranteed because of Betsy's ability, needing opponents to have D-reacts or use armor to stop the wager. Or you could not use it, have 2 resources up, and scare your opponent so much that you have a Pummel that you might not have. Betsy might be one of our first new decks as well. I really like the new Deathmatch Arena heroes, Betsy and Olympia. I think they're really cool. So, really nice here. Just one of the best Pummel heroes in the game, simply because the way you want to be building the deck to use the ability complements Pummel so nicely. The last of the, well, not the last of the new characters, the last one I haven't mentioned yet, because I did mention Olympia, is Victor Goldmane, High and Mighty. This is a Solanian Guardian with 4 intellect and 40 health, although he is not a light hero, because he pays for everything, which I think that theming is really cool. This is the rich guy buying his power. He could be strong, sure. I mean, he looks pretty strong, but I do like that rich guy, high general, thinks really highly of himself type character, and that's what Victor fits. And his ability definitely shows that. The first time each turn you would create a gold token from an effect you control, you draw a card. And the first time each turn you would fail to win a clash, you may instead destroy a card you control, and if you do, you put either of the revealed cards on the bottom and then clash again. Either it be the not attack that you revealed, since you're Guardian, all your attacks are huge, or the enormous attack your opponent revealed straight to the bottom, letting them flip into one of their D-reacts or non-attack actions, immediately letting you win the clash. This is a great hero who's super awesome, has super good fatigue potential because he can replace cards in his hand, is really nice at clashing, and is honestly, if KO wasn't in the set, would be the hero I'd be most excited for. The final class getting new heroes in this set is Warrior, with Kasai of the Golden Sand. She is a normal warrior, even though she has the Draconic border. If you've drawn a card this turn, your sword attacks cost 1 less to activate, and once per turn action, banish 2 reds and 2 yellows from your graveyard. The next time a weapon you control hits a hero this turn, you create a gold token, and then this is go again. Kasai wants to use her gold tokens to make her weapons free, or use gold in some of the other variety of ways. Normally it will be crack it to draw, make your swords free. You have other effects to do that as well. Cash in is going to be a good one, as well as you might want to stock them up on turns you don't need the free effect to set up for a Raisin Army, which is her new specialization that we will talk about later. But I think Kasai is a really cool, aggressive warrior. It's sort of that go wide plan that default warrior doesn't really have, since Dorinthia is a 1-2 attack go tall deck, and Bolton doesn't fit that fighting with your weapons fantasy that warrior players might look for, since he's more attack based than weapon based. Kasai is really nice, letting you have that go wide, swing with your swords playstyle. And with an ability that works with some other cards really well, I think Kasai will be up there as one of the stronger heroes in the set. The final new hero is Olympia, Prized Fighter. Olympia has a very simple ability. The first time each turn a wager, or the first time each attack wins a wager, not even turn, the first time each attack wins a wager, you'll create a gold token. Very easy gold generation. You don't really care what kind of wager you're doing as long as you are winning the wagers. He wants to be playing cards that give his stuff wagers, or just be playing strong wager attacks. The way I have Olympia built right now, and probably the way the video is going to go for the review, I think Olympia might just end up being the best Decimator Axe hero in the game. Bullen is fair with it because he gets access to cards like Soul Shield and a few other light options. And of course, Dorinthia was the only other warrior option, although she does get some nice utility with a sort of forced block because of refraction bolters and a bonus attack. But Olympia gets access to so many more pumps, so many more attack reacts, all still being 3 block, that you get so much more value playing that slow game while playing Olympia, that I think is really nice. Although that's obviously not the only way you can build him. I think using a lot of the aggressive wager cards that Warrior gets access to is also a really strong idea. Probably with something like maybe a Parry Blade, I think could be good. Even a Hot Streak, maybe one of them alongside a Saber, or even 2 of them could be a good idea, or even a Shield if you really wanted to. Now that we looked at all the heroes, we can start taking a look at the rest of the set. Starting off with the Brute weapons. Brute's token weapon this set is going to be the Mandible Claw, a reprint, but still a good one at that. We also see a similar thing with Warrior getting Sabers, but that is Kasai's main weapon, and I suppose Claws are KO's main weapon anyway. So that makes perfect sense. Ball Breaker is a new one-handed flail. It's very similar to a Romping Club, getting +1 if you've discarded a 6 this turn. I think this one is pretty playable and constructed alongside another Mandible Claw if you're playing someone like Levia, or a good in KO himself if you're on a deck that is more go again heavy, because you can come in with this go against first and then come in with the Ball Breaker at the end. Mini Meat Axe is just like the other Meat Axe we have, but this one's one-handed and doesn't get pumped. I think that's a perfect trade-off, and I think Mini Meat Axe is pretty nice, although it probably won't see play, similar to its adult Meat Axe cousin. Moving on to the equipment, Brutes get Apex Bonebreaker as their legendary. This is a legendary arms, and it has 2 block and temper. When this defends together with a card of 6 or more power, you create a might token. Lets you get a little bit of your damage back. Hopefully when you are blocking with this, it will be with the 6, so you do get 2 damage back in turn. A pretty nice one at that. This one will definitely see a lot of play in slower Brute decks. I know I will be playing it, although you should probably still have Gambler's Gloves in your sideboard for matchups that you are going to be rolling your Scab Skin Leathers. Knucklehead is the first in a cycle of specialization helmets for each of the 6 heroes. All of them will have their own helmet. KO's is Knucklehead. It has 2 block and temper, so already pretty nice health. And it has the action to destroy it, roll a 6-sided die, and until the end of your turn, your base power is the number rolled. This is the first card of 2 that have KO specialization on it that are absolutely terrible. Not just comparing it to Scowling Fleshbag, the equipment that these have to beat for Brute, which, in fairness, Fleshbag is really good. That's not why I'm mad at Knucklehead. I'm mad because this card is just unplayable and constructed. I don't want dice rolling effects. Luckily, they gave Rhinar cards in this set that made him less RNG based, such as his new spec and the entirety of the beat chest mechanic, which I like. But giving KO dice rolling things, even if that's his thing before, sucks. Kasai's thing before was copper and they made it gold. It's entirely different. I guess it's still money based, but they're very different and they work very differently. This KO has actually nothing to do with rolling dice, and they still stuck these on it. I guess if you're playing Blitz, go straight ahead, play Knucklehead all you want, but this ain't it. Monstrous Veil is the Rhinar helmet, and this goes 2 for 2 on bad spec helmets. It is a 1-block battle worn with the effect of action, destroy this, draw a card, then discard a card at random. Go again. If you wanted this same effect, you should just play Skullhorn, in which you should be playing that anyway because it's Arcane Barrier, and lets you save out on a slot if you want AB3. That's why this card's unplayable. It's the same effect as Skullhorn. Skullhorn is already index, but Skullhorn having the AB2 is better than this having the Battle Worn 1. I guess you're never cracking Skullhorn in the matchups you want it for the AB, but there's no point in wasting a slot on an extra 1 health Monstrous Veil to just get the effect in matchups you actually want the effect. Raw Meat is a brand new Brute chess piece at common, and I will say I do really like this cycle. Unlike these Brute helmets, this card is bad for a different reason than the cards are just bad. Raw Meat's bad purely because of its competition. The Guardian version of these is the literal best one because Guardian shoes have actually no competition. And Warrior arms are actually, I'd say, the worst because they already have two blocks things. Like, why would you ever play those arms when you already have a 2-block Temper Legendary and a 2-block Battle Worn Legendary? But Raw Meat, unfortunately, has to fight against Heart and Cross Strap alongside Findel Spring Tunic, and it just doesn't get there. But I do really like this card. Moving on to the Majestics. Sen Packing is a yellow 3-cost, 6-power, 3-block. It has the effect, when this attacks a hero, banish a card from their arsenal. When the chain link resolves, if this didn't hit, return the banished card to its owner's hand, and it's banished face up, so you get to see it. This is a Brute Command and Conquer. It does cost 1 more. They can play D-Reacts on it from hand, obviously, because, you know, their arsenal's gone. But I do really like this card. If you can stand the additional 1 cost, you do get a color bump to yellow and the Brute tag, which is pretty important for some card effects. I could see this one being really cool, and I've wanted an Intimidate from Arsenal for a while, and this is like literally what I wanted. I don't know if this card will be playable, but I do think it's really, really cool, and I do definitely like it. Show No Mercy is the brand new Rhinar spec, and this, honestly, is a really good card. It's a 3-cost 6 with 3 block, and it says, when this attacks a hero, Intimidate, and if the defending hero has no cards in hand, this gets +3. Which, funny enough, if your opponent actually blocks this and goes to no cards in hand, it still gets +3. Super strong, really funny. I think this card's great because of that interaction. Definitely a card that will push Rhinar. Alpha Rampage was already a card you played because it itself was too Intimidate since it required the discard, so you could use it to end games or deal a lot of damage really early. But this is a perfect mid-game option. It's that perfect middle ground of I want a card I can play to chip through damage, and this is definitely that card. This paired with one Intimidate effect, like a Beatdown, will generally result in your opponent always taking at least 3 unless they want to throw equipment in as well. Super strong. I really like Show No Mercy. Cast Bones is a 0-cost action. It is 3 block. It has you reveal the top 6 cards of your deck and create a might token for each card revealed with 6 or more power. Then you put the rest back on top in a random order. If you revealed 6 cards / have 6 might tokens, so I guess if you make a might token elsewhere, but pretty much if you revealed all 6, you get to make an agility token. Super strong on paper, but your deck has to be built in such a way that you can guarantee you hit the Cast Bones. I think off 1 agility, though, you are in a good enough spot to win a game. But when you're already playing cards like Bloodrush Bellow, probably the best brute card in the game, and I guess you don't have to play any other not attacks, including Gay Axe. You could just play 54 attacks, 3 Cast Bones, 3 Bellows, alongside maybe a few cards that can generate might tokens alongside of the Cast Bones. You can have a pretty sound deck. But Cast Bones being a red and not having go again is a little weird, but I do think this is a cool card that will definitely be experimented with. Reckless Charge is the second card that says KO specialization that is absolutely terrible. This is a 0-cost 3-block blue action that says to roll a 6-sided die and gain action points equal to half the roll rounded down. If you roll a 6 on a die this turn, you draw a card. You want to know the issue with Reckless Charge? It is a dice roll card in a set that has nothing to do with rolling dice. I do like the theming, where KO is being reckless and rushing in, which is obviously a gamble if he's going to get the edge on his opponent and gain action points, or if he's going to fall flat and not do anything. But when you're forcing cards to help the old KO in a set with a new KO who's somehow the most consistent brute in the game, why are you giving him cards that roll dice and are inconsistent? If I wanted this effect, I would roll Scabskin Leathers. I don't care if I roll a 6 and draw a card. I'm already getting 3 action points. This doesn't really do much for me. This is one of the worst cards in the set by far, considering if you're playing KO, you have like 20 more blues you could be playing anyway. And the final brute majestic in the set, at least pure brute, is No Fear. This is a 0-cost red instant. As an additional cost, banish any number of cards with 6 or more base power from your hand at the beginning of your end phase. Return them to your hand. Also, I know I said base. I'm sorry, it is not base. KO blue 5s do work. The next time you would be dealt damage this turn, prevent X of that damage where X is 2 plus the number of cards you banish to play it. I think this is cool. It's obviously designed to sort of beat the Wizards, but it kind of falls flat since you're going to lose out on blues probably and you have less prevention, but I do like it. I think it's a really cool card. This will probably see the most play alongside Levia because technically you can banish cards to stop her from triggering or to turn into Levia Redeemed or to play a Doomsday because the cards are face up. So this can be good in that type of deck. I don't know how good that type of deck is going to be, but this is an option for you. Next is a few rares that are some reprints. Beast Mode, returning from the Rhinar vs. Dorinthia deck, is now alongside its yellow and blue variants. Sadly, the blue is only a 3 for 4, so it probably won't see much play, but a card that does definitely make sense inside of the set. Same thing as Patcaw, who now gets its red and blue variants. And Pack Call Blue does have 5 power, making this probably one of the best cards you can put in your KO list. Definitely look for these. This is going to be an all-star inside of KO Armed and Dangerous. The final Mono Brute rare is Rawhide Rumble. This is a 2 for 6 at red with a new mechanic, Beat Chest. As additional cost to play this, you may discard a card of 6 or more power. When this attacks, if you have Beaten Chest this turn, Intimidate. Really good with other Beat Chest cards. There's a non-attack action we will look at later that lets you beat Chest, but as long as you've done it at least once, it's really good. This is better in normal Rhinar, where you get access to the Intimidate because you're discarding a 6. Less good in KO because if you're going to play this, bro, Pack Hunt's in the same set. This doesn't require you to discard. But for Rhinar, Rawhide Rumble is a really nice tool. Pretty much the rest of the Beat Chest cards as well, except not really, because there are 2 in this set that are really, really strong. Assault and Battery is the first. It's a 3 for 7, which means the blues are playable since they have 5 power. And if you've beaten Chest this turn, you make an Agility token, skipping a few because the next 2 are reprints, to Pound Town, which gives you a Might token instead. Really, really strong cards. Expect these in Brute, especially the yellows in Rhinar and the reds and blues both in KO. At least the blues in KO, the list I'm playing for KO plays the reds because I think they're way too strong. But definitely both Brutes are going to be playing these either at blue in KO or at yellow in Rhinar. So these cards are definitely strong. Getting that Beat Chest plus token, especially Assault and Battery giving you that Agility token, is just oh so nice. It's so good setup for a next turn. Next we got a few reprints. Bare Fangs. I don't remember what set this is from. This card's really bad. It's okay in KO. I haven't been liking it, but people have been playing it. It's like a 2 for 8. Pack Hunt reprint. Just a good Brute card. I like it. Wild Ride. Good in the aggro KO list. I think it's fine. And the Beat Chest action that I was talking about before. Bonebreaker Bellow is a 1 cost, 3 block action. It is Beat Chest and go again. At red, it will give your next Brute attack +5, but if you've beaten Chest, if you've beaten Chest you get 5, but if you don't, you just get +3. This is mainly here to trigger your Beat Chest, since you can play this and Beat Chest and then play something else and not have to. Really strong. The yellow gives 2 and 4 and the blue gives 1 and 3. I don't think the blue will actually see play, which is a little weird in this one. I think if you're going to play this card, you want the red version and get the +5. So I think the red's probably a little better than the blue, but I wouldn't fault anyone for playing the blue. And then the last Mono Brute card in the set is Smashback Ailhorn. This is another part of a cycle of 2 block blues that are actions that give you both the classes tokens. Each class has 2 different of the 3 tokens. Brute has Agility and Might, Guardian has Might and Vigor, and Warrior has Agility and Vigor. So this one gives you an Agility and a Might. I like it. Moving on to Guardian. Guardian gets a brand new common weapon, High Riser. It's a 3 cost for 3, and if you've drawn a card this turn, it gets +1. Pretty good. Probably not going to see play over Titan's Fists, but definitely has the potential. If Guardians start drawing a ton of cards, mainly Victor, this will work out really well, but I don't really see it. Although, I guess there are a lot of blocks that Victor wants to be playing, so you might think this be a little better than Titan's Fist in that case. Miller's Grindstone is a 4 power hammer, same cost of 3. When it hits a hero, you clash with them. If you win, you destroy the top card of their deck, being the card that they clash with. Or, if they win, this gets a -1 counter. This card is unplayable. If you ever lose a single clash, this card will never hit again, because it only has 3 power now. If you're playing Fatigue, this card is useless, because losing that 1 clash means you lose the game. If you're playing a more aggressive list, why are you playing Miller's Grindstone in an aggressive list? You should be on a note those. because that one comes in for 6. Aurum Aegis is a brand new Victor specialization. He surprisingly gets the most in the set, although I guess it makes sense considering he probably paid for it. Aurum Aegis is a Victor spec. It is a 2 health temper shield, and it counts as gold. This is the same shields you've been playing, except this one's a gold. And I think that's great. Victor doesn't have that early potential to start with a gold, because why are you playing Crown of Providence or Dominion? Why are you playing the gold crown? I played Brute, man. I don't know what these other helmets are. Why are you playing the gold crown inside of a Guardian? That's the question. This gives you that gold, which I think is really nice. Yes, if you use it for its gold purpose, you do lose out on probably 1 health, but oh well. This is a strict upgrade to what the other shields do, but it's not as strict of an upgrade to where it's like pay to win or anything. But I guess you're playing a card game, so I mean, that's fair. There is another shield, Stonewall Impasse. Since Guardian only gets 1 rare weapon, every class got 2. This shield takes the place of the 2nd rare weapon. Stonewall Impasse is a 1-block temper shield, and when it defends, you clash with the attacking hero. If you win, it gets +1 for the turn. This card's kind of useless. It's not better than the other 2-block shields, but for the format, it's the only shield, so it's great in limited formats, but you're never going to see this played in anything else because Buckler is just strictly better. Revenant Shield's strictly better. And if you're playing Victor, you're going to play Aegis. The brand new Guardian Legendary, other than Aegis, but that's a spec, so I don't really count it, is Gauntlets of Iron Will. This is a 2-block Guardian arm with Temper. It has, when this defends, the next time an attack would gain power this combat link. Instead, it gains that much -1. This is better than Crater Fist, which is really good. Crater Fist was already played simply because it was a 3-block glove. You never activated the ability on it. I guess you could, but you never did. Gauntlets of Iron Will is a 5 health glove in some situations. Really strong card, will definitely see play in pretty much every Guardian because of how big this makes your fridge. Golden Glare is the next in the helmet cycle. This is Victor's, and it says when this defends together with 2 or more yellow cards, you create a gold token. And then it has Blade Break, 2-block, which if you make the gold, you do get your card off Victor. And originally, I was under the impression this was really good. However, recently I've been coming around to this card isn't as good since you do need to play a lot of yellows. And if you're playing a lot of yellows, then Victor's worse, since if you're playing the blocks, you want them all in red. And if you're playing Guardian, you want a lot of blues. So this one does fit his Solanian theme and his border of yellows, but you know, this one not the best helmet. Probably stick with the crown instead. However, we do have a really, really good helmet coming up. Good Time Chapeau is the Betsy specialization helmet. This one is a 2-block temper, but you know, you're gonna actually activate it. It is an action to destroy a gold you control to make your next attack this turn gain. When this hits a hero, wager a might and vigor with them. Insane with Betsy, since you're giving your next attack wager, you can activate her ability to give it +1 and overpower, and you get a might and a vigor, which is really strong when you consider there's a Guardian card we are going to talk about that really wants you to have a might and vigor going into your turn. And this is still 2 health, so you're not losing anything. And Betsy doesn't really use her gold anyway, so this just like turns into a free activation the second you get a single gold. Really strong. Probably, in all honesty, might be the best spec helmet in the set. So, really strong. Finally, is the other piece in the block with tokens cycle, stand ground. This one's really strong. If you have a might, it gets +1, and if you have a vigor, it gets +1. This one actually will see play. It's currently in my victor list because he makes mights and vigors really easily, and you don't want to give your opponent a quicken token. It's not in my Betsy list because she can interact with the opponent and disrupt that quicken that you might give them. So, you don't need this in her, but this definitely would be an option in her, considering Chapeau makes both, her spec makes both, which we'll talk about now. Bet Big is a 4-cost red, 8 power, 3 block Betsy specialization. It has the effect, when this attacks the hero, you may wager a gold, might, and vigor with them. So not only are you getting that might and vigor you need for some of the other cards, but you're getting that gold you need to activate your Chapeau. This can come in as a 6 for 9 with overpower. Since you're on Betsy, this can get pummeled and have an absolutely insane outcome if you do. An insane card for a honestly pretty good hero. Betsy's specs are really good. I definitely expect her to be one of the best heroes coming out of this set. The card I've been talking about all this time, Prime to Fight, is a 5-cost red Guardian attack. It has 9 power and 3 block. If you've controlled a Vigor this turn, it costs 1 less, and if you controlled a Might this turn, it gets +1. So if you had the duo of Vigor and Might, you can just pitch a blue to come in for a whopping 11. Really strong. I think this card will definitely be a meta pick inside of possibly both of these new Guardians. The Golden Sun, probably one of my most favorite arts in this set. This art on this card is insane. It's a yellow 4-cost Guardian attack. It is a Victor specialization, and it has 7 power and 3 block. As an additional cost to play it, you may destroy a gold you control, and if you do, this attack gets +3 in overpower, letting it come in for a whopping 10. As well as, when you win a clash by revealing this card, you get the gold token that you need to play it, and you just straight draw it because you've made a gold token on this turn. Really strong. Why wait for Divine Intervention when gold can pave the way? I agree. Boast is a majestic block. It is a blue. It has 3 base defense. When it defends, it gets +X, where X is twice the number of clashes you've won this turn. This can be hard to pull off. However, a lot of the clashes you're actually going to be doing are blocks, so this will most often block 4-5. Really strong. Or even 7 when we look at Trounce. Trounce is another majestic block. It has, when this defends, clash with the opposing hero, put the revealed cards on the bottom of the owner's deck, then clash again. If a hero wins both clashes, they get a gold, might, and vigor token, giving you both tokens for Prime the Fight and drawing you a card off of Victor's ability. Really strong, definitely going to see play. Only downside is it has 3 block, but a card this insane probably shouldn't have 4 block. Colossal Bearing, Lay Down the Law, and Smack of Reality are all being reprinted in this set. If you don't know what these 3 cards are, they were the 3 tower cards inside of the Brevenant deck for the UPF set. I think these cards are great. They didn't need to be in other colors because the red would probably be the only playable version since they need to hit 13 power, so you'd play the highest power versions. But I do think these are good reprints to be here. Sadly though, from what I've seen, there is no of the other card the Boulder Drop, which we are waiting on that one in red. But I think if we get that in red, it's actually over, and Betsy is just the best deck in the game. So good thing we didn't get it. Over the top is a 3-cost, 6 power at red. It says if its power is greater than its base, it gets overpower. You're going to see this a lot. The 2 Guardian mechanics in the set are if this card's power higher than its base, probably for the Betsy cards, and clashing, which is definitely for the Brevenant cards, as well as any wagers, but the wagers are mostly dual class cards. Stacked in your favor is a 2-cost aura. It costs 2. It is go again, and your action cards get +3 block while defending. At the start of your turn, you destroy this, draw a card, and put a card from your hand on top. This would be a great Victor card, considering that he is in the art. However, since this card only blocks for 2, it is relegated to an unplayable. It does have that good setup potential, probably really good in limited formats, but in constructed, it probably won't make the cut. Command Respect is a 3-cost, 6 power at red. It says when this hits a hero, if this has power greater than its base, destroy a card in their arsenal. A new Command and Conquer type card that's 2 classes in a row. Maybe we'll see the triple. Spoiler alert, we will. Command Respect is really strong in Betsy, especially if you're playing that pummel game plan, since you can pummel this, get a card from their hand and their arsenal. Really good. Concuss is another power than its base card of the same stat line as 3 for 6 at red. When it hits a hero, if this is power greater than its base, they discard a card. Same thing as Command Respect, but with the card from hand instead of the card from arsenal. I like it. It will see play. Thunk is the next card. This is a 5 for 8 at red. It says if you win a clash by revealing this, you create a might token. Similarly, Wallop is a 4 for 7 with the same effect except with a vigor token. These will see play in Victor, the blues because they are blues, as well as decent stats on their own, and the reds because they're the biggest power, mainly there so you can win clashes and make the tokens to get an advantage. Big Bop is another aura. It has 2 block again for some reason, and it gives your next attack +5 and wager a vigor token on attack. Good. Bigger than big is the same, but for a might token, these are Betsy cards. I guess if they're Betsy cards, they block 2 because she's going to be doing a metric ton of damage. But they block 2, you're probably not playing them since that deck's already playing, I'm going to be honest, a lot of cards that block 2. And the final Pure Guardian card in the set, Pint of Strong and Stout, is the cycle of drinks, and it will give you a might and vigor token. It's alright. Moving on to Warrior, we've already talked about Centauri Saber. Pretty nice tool. Alongside new cards, Hot Streak. This is a 2 power sword, same stat line as Saber. Same thing for the next sword. This one has go again if it's defended by 1 or more attack action. Really strong tool, makes it hard to block since you just get your action back. Parry Blade is, to my knowledge, the first weapon that can actually block. This is a 2 power sword with Blade Break and 0 base block, but it gets +2 while defending a weapon. So in limited formats, this can definitely save your life since weapons are probably a really important part of this format. Warrior's new legendary, Grains of Blood Spill. This is a 2-block tempered chest. It has when you attack with a weapon, or when a weapon hits, you can pay a resource. If you do, you get a vigor. Needing weapons to hit to get vigor is strong, but if you're playing Kasai, you're going to play Tunic or Courage, and if you're playing Olympia, you're going to play Tunic, and if you're playing Bolton, you're going to play Tunic. This is not stronger than Tunic, since you do have to already pay the 1 resource. I guess there are situations where this can get strong to give you the vigor, but I really don't like it. Prized Galea is Olympia's helmet. It has a 1 cost attack reaction to destroy it and have a weapon attack wager a gold, and it has temper and 2 block. It's a good tool. It sees play because you want to be giving your weapon wager for cards in Olympia. It's good. You're going to play it. The final helmet in the cycle is the Hood of Red Sand. This is Kasai's. It's 1 block battle worn and has pay a resource, banish a red and yellow card from your graveyard, destroy it to give a sword. When this hits, draw a card. It's nice. I like it. But it's 1 card. Doesn't persist because it's only the attack. Not as good as getting a gold at the start of the game or having 2 health with the other crown. Probably not the strongest tool, but I think it's still playable in some spots. Finally, to end out the cycle of token equipment, Beckon Applause is kind of just unplayable considering that you already have 2 block temper equipment you could be playing. Brute doesn't have a 2 block temper chess piece, and Guardian's shoes have a downside on them, so those are comparable, but this is just a strict downgrade to some of the legendaries we have. Moving on to the Majestics. Blade Fury is an absolutely cracked card. This is a 0 cost attack react. It gives a weapon attack +2 and your next weapon attack +2. Perfect for Sabers and Kasai or more aggressive Olympia lists wanting to use 2 one-handed weapons. Really nice tool. I really like it. Even in Dorinthia, you can play this to pump up your current sword swing, and the next swing still gets +2. So even in Dorinthia, this is a great card. Shift the Tide of Battle is a Bolton effect on an attack reaction. It's a 0 cost yellow that has 3 block. You give a warrior attack with power greater than its base, go again, and the next time an opposing hero is dealt damage this turn, you get an agility token. I think this is a pretty decent Bolton card. I don't know if it'll see play, since you could just activate Bolton's ability, but it's a yellow, so you can charge it for your effects, and it can give you an agility, which he also doesn't mind having. So I think this is a pretty nice tool there. Up the ante is Olympia's new spec. It is a blue 3 block with X cost. You have choose X +1. Target attack wagers an agility, wagers a gold, wagers a vigor, and target attack gets +Y, where Y is the number of times it was wagered. So if you pitch 3 for this, it's a +3 wager agility, gold, and vigor. Really strong card, really adaptable. Strong with his helmet, since that's another wager you can stack on to get an extra +1. So Olympia definitely has the tools to fight with an opponent. Here it is. The CNC Commanding Performance. This is a 1 cost red action. It is 3 block. It gives your next warrior attack +3. And at the end of the turn, or until the end of the turn, when a warrior attack gets defended by 1 or more attack action cards, which this is for the whole turn, by the way, not just the attack that gets pumped, you destroy that hero's arsenal. So if a ranger wants to block you, I guess they're not on trench. If a slower deck wants to block you like Guardian, their arsenal's probably getting blown up. This is one of the best cards out of the set. Definitely pick this one up if you're a warrior player. Raisin Army is the last warrior only spec, and it is warrior only majestic, and it is Kasai's spec. It's a yellow, it costs 0 and it's 3 block, but it does have the additional cost to destroy X gold you control. And upon doing so, you make that many Centauri sellswords. They are 3/2 allies that cost 1 to attack and if go again. This is your late game card if you're playing against a Guardian or someone who's going to take you late, because Betsy probably won't. If you're playing against a Bravo or a Brevenant or a Jeromai, stacking up gold tokens to make a huge Raisin army is probably your game plan. Moving on to the rares. Cut the Deck. That's not the red Cut the Deck. Cut the Deck is a +3 at red, and if the attack that got +3 is defended by an attack action, you draw, and then you put a card from your hand or arsenal on the bottom. So good cycling, as well as, hey, it's another pump. Probably not going to see the most play in warrior decks, but I do like it. Fatal Engagement is a 2-cost attack react. You can only play it if an opponent defended with an attack action this chain link, and the attack you're targeting is +5, and this can work on anything, even CNC. So it's kind of like a pummel, if you really think about it. Take the Upper Hand is actually a really nice card. This is a 0-cost attack reaction. You can only play it if you've wagered this chain link, and you give an attack +3. Probably only really good in Olympia and Limited, but I mean, in Olympia, this card's a house. Agile Engagement is the same as Vigorous Engagement. Both are 1-cost block 2s that give a warrior attack +3 at red, and they make their respective token. Agile makes an agility, and Vigorous makes a vigor. Draw Your Sword is a 3-cost that gives your next warrior attack +3, and you draw a card. Strong tool. I don't know if it'll see the most play in Constructed, but for Limited, this is definitely a card that you'll see warriors be playing. Edge Ahead is a wager effect that you get. Same thing as Hold'em. They're both wagers. Edge Ahead gives you the agility, and Hold'em gives you a vigor, similar to the other plus wager type cards that other classes have. Edged Swiftblade is the same as the +3, and if defended by an attack gets something, this gives it just straight go again. So a really good tool to be aggressive, especially towards the late game when you kind of always get the go again. The final warrior card is the Goblet of Blood Run Wine. This one is the same, the thing. It's an agility and a vigor, just like all the other ones. But I think it's pretty good. You probably won't play them in any decks, but you could if you wanted. I think the Brute one's the worst one. This is the second best one, and the Guardian one is the best one because they actually have card effects that care about having both tokens. After taking a look at how much footage I've actually already recorded, this is going to be the end of the review for this week. But next week, we will have the remaining part of this review, which will be all of the cool, awesome dual class cards alongside all the generic cards and all of the expansion slot cards. But with all of that, I hope you all enjoyed, I guess. I mean, it's just me reading cards. I hope you all have good luck in your heavy hitters pre-releases. Hope you all have good luck in your boxes, if you are getting any boxes, your cases, and maybe you pull a nice Marvel of the hero that you are looking to play. I'm definitely know the ones that I am looking for. With all of that, I'll see you all in the next one, and have a good day.